You know that feeling. You are talking to someone. Everything seems normal on the surface. They are smiling. They are nodding. They are using all the right words. But something feels off. Something in your chest is registering something your brain has not caught up to yet. You leave the conversation and you cannot explain it. You were not insulted. Nothing obvious happened. But you feel smaller than you did before you walked in. You feel like something was taken from you, and you do not even know what it was. Here is what happened. You were just looked down on. Quietly, skillfully, by someone who has been doing it for a long time and never once raised their voice. See, most people think disrespect is loud. They think it comes with insults and arguments and obvious attacks. But the most dangerous kind of disrespect is the quiet kind, the kind that hides behind a smile, the kind that uses polite words to deliver an impolite message, the kind that leaves you doubting yourself instead of doubting them. And the people who do this are not amateurs. They are practiced. They know exactly what they are doing. They have just never been caught because most people do not have the language to name what is happening to them. Until today, because by the end of this video, you are going to recognize every single sign. And the moment you can see it clearly, it loses all of its power over you. Stay with me, because some of what I am about to tell you is going to make you think of someone specific. And when that happens, pay attention. Because your gut already knew. You just never had the proof. Before we get into the signs, I need you to understand something important. People who look down on others do not always know they are doing it. Some of them are completely conscious. They know exactly what they are doing and they enjoy it. But others have been carrying this behavior for so long that it has become automatic. They do not think of themselves as someone who looks down on people. They think of themselves as honest, as direct, as just being real. But the impact on you is exactly the same. Whether they know it or not, the weight you carry after interacting with them is real. The shrinking you feel is real. And recognizing the signs is the first step to protecting yourself from both kinds. Here are the 7 signs someone secretly looks down on you. Firstly, they give you compliments that do not feel like compliments. You know this one. You share some good news. Maybe you got a promotion. Maybe you finished something you worked hard on. Maybe you just did something you are proud of. And they look at you and say something like, "Oh, wow, good for you. I did not think you had it in you," or "That is actually really impressive. Honestly, I am surprised." Or it's, "You did that? Seriously? I would not have expected that from you." And you stand there, smiling on the outside, confused on the inside. Because technically, they said something positive, but it did not feel positive. It felt like they just reminded you of the low opinion they had of you before this moment. It felt like the compliment came with a receipt. Here is what is happening. Psychologists call this a backhanded compliment, and it is one of the most revealing things a person can do without realizing it. Because hidden inside every backhanded compliment is the belief they hold about you at baseline. "Good for you. I did not think you had it in you," tells you exactly what they actually think of you. The compliment is the wrapper. The insult is the content. Real people who respect you do not add a surprise disclaimer to your achievements. They just celebrate them. When someone cannot congratulate you without reminding you how low their expectations of you were, that is not a compliment. That is a confession. Secondly, they never ask about your life, but they expect you to ask about theirs. Think about the last 10 conversations you had with this person. Who asked the questions? Who listened? Who talked about their problems, their goals, their wins, their struggles? And who sat there absorbing everything while their own life sat quietly in the background unasked about? Now think about what happens the one time you try to bring up something about yourself. Do they lean in? Or do they nod absently and wait for a pause so they can redirect the conversation back to themselves? Here is the truth. The way someone listens to you tells you everything about how much they value you. People who respect you are curious about you. They ask follow-up questions. They remember things you told them last time. They check in. People who look down on you do not do any of that. Not because they are busy, not because they forgot, because on some level they do not consider your inner world important enough to explore. You are a supporting character in their story, not a main character in your own. And once you see it, you will notice it everywhere. The one-sided conversation, is not an accident. It is a mirror. And what it is showing you is exactly how much space they think you deserve in a room. Thirdly, they correct you in front of other people, but never in private. Imagine this. You are in a group. You say something, maybe you got a small detail slightly wrong. Maybe you mispronounced a word. Maybe you shared an opinion they disagree with. And instead of quietly mentioning it to you later, they correct you out loud, right there, in front of everyone, with a voice just a little too confident and a smile just a little too satisfied. Oh, actually, that is not quite right. Or I think you will find it is actually pronounced like this. Or that is not really how it works. Let me explain. And suddenly you are not a peer in the conversation anymore. You are a student being corrected by someone who just appointed themselves your teacher. Now here's the critical question. Do they do this to everyone? Or just to you? Because there is a difference between someone who values accuracy and someone who values making you look small. People who correct everyone equally are just pedantic. People who correct you specifically, publicly, more than they correct anyone else. That is something different. That is a performance. And the audience is every person in the room. They are using your mistake as a stage. And the message they are broadcasting to everyone watching is this: I know more than this person, which means I am above this person, which means this person is someone you should take less seriously than me. Real people who respect you correct privately. They pull you aside, they send you a message, they wait, because protecting your dignity matters to them. The ones who look down on you cannot wait, because public correction is the point. The fourth sign, they use humor to say things they know they cannot say directly. This is the most dangerous sign on this list, because it hides behind laughter. You are in a group. Everything is casual and light. And then this person says something about you. Maybe about your career choices. Maybe about your relationship. Maybe about the way you dress or speak or live your life. And everyone laughs, including you. Because what else are you supposed to do? But underneath the laugh, something registered. Something stung. And then later, when you try to bring it up, they say, I was just joking. You are too sensitive. It was nothing. Here is what you need to understand about this tactic. Humor is the perfect disguise for contempt. It gives the speaker the thing they wanted to say without any of the accountability. They got to put you down. They got the group to laugh along. They got to watch you absorb it quietly. And they got to walk away clean. Because if you react, you are the one who cannot take a joke. And if you do not react, you just gave them permission to do it again. This is a trap with no visible walls. But here's the thing about traps. Once you can see the walls, you can walk around them. The next time someone uses a joke to say something they know they cannot say directly, you do not have to laugh along. You do not have to get angry. You just look at them calmly and say, was that meant to be a joke or were you being honest? And then you wait, because now they have to choose. Either admit they were being honest, which exposes them, or insist it was a joke, which makes it impossible for them to repeat it without looking like someone who does the same thing twice after being called out once. Either way, you win, and they know it. 5. They talk about your successes in past tense and your failures in present tense. This one is subtle, almost invisible. But once you hear it, you will never unhear it. Pay close attention to how someone describes you to other people when you are in the room. Someone who respects you will introduce you at your current best. They will say, she just launched her own business. They will say, he has been doing incredible work lately. They frame you at your ceiling. But someone who looks down on you, they tell your story differently. They mention the business you tried that did not work out. They bring up the phase you went through. They reference the version of you that was struggling, was confused, was lost, as though that version is the most relevant version, the most accurate version, the version people should use as the lens through which they see you now. And your current growth? Oh, that gets a maybe. That gets a we will see. That gets a quiet asterisk that signals to everyone listening, do not get too excited about this person just yet. Here's what this reveals. People who look down on you are most comfortable with the version of you that confirms their low opinion. Your growth threatens something in them. Your progress disrupts the story they have been telling themselves about who you are. So they hold on to your lowest moments and release your highest ones. They curate you. And the version they curate says more about their need to feel above you than it says about your actual life. Sixth sign, they give you unsolicited advice constantly. You did not ask, you never asked. But somehow every conversation ends with them explaining what you should do differently, how you should handle your relationships, how you should be spending your money, how you should approach your career, how you should really think about things. And it is delivered in that tone. You know the tone. Patient, slightly tired, like talking to someone who just does not quite get it yet. And here's the trap inside this one. The advice is not always bad. Sometimes it is genuinely good advice, which makes it harder to name what is wrong with it. But the problem was never the content of the advice. The problem is the assumption underneath it. The assumption that you need their guidance. The assumption that without their input, you would probably make the wrong call. The assumption that their perspective on your life is more reliable than your own. People who respect you offer advice when you ask for it. People who look down on you offer advice whether you ask or not. Because in their mind, you are someone who needs more guidance than the average person. And they are exactly the right person to provide it. Once you recognize this pattern, you will start to feel the texture of it in every unsolicited opinion they offer. And you are completely allowed to say, I did not ask for advice on this. I was just sharing. You said it calmly. You said it kindly. But you said it clearly. And clarity is the language that ends this pattern faster than anything else. Seventh sign, they never defend you when it matters, but they are always present for your embarrassment. This is the one that cuts deepest, because this sign only reveals itself in the moments you need someone most. You are in a room. Someone says something unfair about you. Someone takes a shot at you, and you look around for the person who you thought was in your corner. And they are quiet, or worse, like they are smiling, or even worse than that, they add something, a small comment, a laugh that lasts just a little too long, a look to the rest of the group that says, yeah, I kind of agree. And later, when the moment has passed and it is just the two of you, they say nothing about it. They do not check in. They do not acknowledge what happened. They act like the whole thing did not occur. Because to acknowledge it would be to admit they had a choice in that moment, and they chose wrong. Here is what silence in that moment actually communicates. It communicates that your dignity was not worth the discomfort of speaking up, that avoiding awkwardness with the room mattered more than protecting you, that they will stand beside you when it costs nothing and disappear when it costs something. Real people defend you when you cannot defend yourself. Not perfectly, not loudly, but they say something, they shift the conversation. They check on you immediately after. They make sure you know, I saw that, and I am on your side. The ones who look down on you, they watch. And their silence in that moment tells you everything their words have been hiding. Here is what I want you to take away from everything you just heard. The most dangerous person in your life is not the one who is obviously cruel. You can protect yourself from obvious cruelty. You know what it looks like. You know how it feels. The most dangerous person is the one who makes you feel small while appearing kind. The one who gets into your confidence quietly, who plants doubt in you gently, who makes you question your own worth without ever saying a single word about your worth directly. That person is harder to spot, harder to confront, harder to walk away from, because you spend half your time wondering if you are the problem. You are not. But staying informed, staying aware, staying awake to the patterns around you, that is your protection. Once you can name what is happening, you take back the power that these patterns were designed to take from you. Because here is the truth about people who secretly look down on others. They are not powerful. They are scared. Scared that if they treated you like an equal, they might have to confront how unequal they feel inside themselves. Your growth makes them uncomfortable. Your confidence makes them reach for control. Your presence reminds them of something they are not ready to face. That is their work to do, not yours. Your only job is to see it clearly. Protect your peace deliberately and keep moving forward without carrying the weight of their limitations. You deserve people around you who celebrate you honestly, who listen to you genuinely, who defend you without being asked, who correct you privately if at all, who let your achievements stand without a disclaimer attached. If someone in your life is failing every single one of those standards, that is not a small thing. That is important information. And what you do with that information is up to you. But now you have it. Now you can see it. And now, nobody gets to take that from you. If this video named something you have been feeling for a long time, hit that like button right now and drop a comment below. Tell me, which one of these 7 signs hit closest to home for you? Which sign made you think of a specific person? I read every single comment, and your answer might shape the very next video I make, because the more you share, the more precisely I can help. Subscribe if you have not already, because what we are building here is something different, not just content, a community of people who refuse to be made small by anyone. I will see you in the next one.